So when you challenge the status quo, they will try to kill you. How dare you challenge powers and principalities? How dare you dream dreams and see visions? How dare you care about the poor and the weak? And you know, I'm convinced that we live in a culture and in a society, in a moment where people hate the poor. Our culture hates the poor. They are maligned in every way. We are convinced that people are poor and it's their fault. There's something wrong with them and there's something right with us. That is until a terrible recession hits and you lose your job, in spite of how hard you've worked, in spite of how many degrees you have. That is until you get sick and you lose your health care and you can't work anymore. But we have maligned the poor. And the reason I know it is because politicians don't ever speak about the poor anymore. Have you noticed the poor have completely dropped out of public speech and political rhetoric? Democrats don't even talk about the poor. They will talk about the so-called middle class, but they will not talk about the poor. And the reason I say the so-called middle class is because that's part of the game. Part of the game is to convince folk who are really poor that you are middle class. I know you look pretty good this morning. I know you're mighty sharp this morning. I know you feel like everything is all right, but I'm telling you, you're not that far from being poor. I'll just testify for myself. You're not that far from being poor. I don't care what you drove up here in. You don't own that car. That's why you write a check every month. And if you miss 3 paychecks, you'll see just how poor you really are.